as we hop into the first game of the sudden death rematch between the Arma 3 Ambassadors clan, or Arma 3 Ambassadors team, excuse me, and Tangodown. Spawning in as Red 4. From the Netherlands, we have Tangodown. And again, big ups to these guys for agreeing to this rematch.
Absolutely.
And spawning in as Blue 4. A community, or I guess a collection of Twitch streamers, Arma player personalities. We have the Arma 3 Ambassador team. So, I mean, Stardog, like we said before, we've tended to see this Red 4 side secure Phase 1 a little bit sooner than Blue 4. There was, I believe, a coin flip to determine whose side these players will start on. Both teams right now advancing full tilt towards their FOB.
Yep. And Tangodown, I believe, may have won that coin toss because I think that they favor the red side. Going back to last week when I spoke to them. So I would expect that they had won that coin toss and they got a chance to choose the Op 4 side. And they're closing in. I expect first contact here within the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, Nightmare leading the charge here with Dane, and they're pushing in to that FOB complex.
That's first contact from Red.
Yeah, engage from the hillside rather than engage up close. No Green 4 down inside this Red F4B complex for now. One goes down. Let's check on Blue 4 what their situation is. No engagements right now. Actually, we see Green 4 engaging Blue 4. That's an interesting sight. As Ace's Fury is the first one to that FOB. Moondie 7 on the other flank, getting ready to breach this compound.
Now, what we've seen from these two teams last week was Tangodown adopted a strategy that was very similar to Armalusa in Phase 1 to Phase 2, where it was secure the FOB as fast as possible and then transition out to the uplinks as quickly as possible.
I think we might see an Ambassador victory here in Phase 1 as they have secured their FOB.
Oh, wow.
We'll be moving to the intel phase. Red 4 doing the same, but a little bit, a little bit farther away from their FOB than Blue 4 is as they both move into that second phase. The Ambassadors will win it, though.
I feel like Ambassadors are too slow transitioning and getting out. Marius is moving out, and now Ace's Fury is starting to move out. I feel like you really got to make the most of this advantage, and they're just a little bit slow getting out of the gates from their FOB.
Especially in a sudden death matchup like this one. Marius, we've seen him be I think the VIP from the last match we played, or last match played between these two teams. Definitely a skilled player from the Ambassador team advancing towards that center alpha objective. The rest of Blue 4, again, like you mentioned, Stardog, slow out of their base. Ace's Fury going to be pushing forward towards that Charlie objective.
Yeah, Red also has some difficulty getting out of their base. They
whoa, that poor vehicle just flipped upside down with Sasha and I think
on the
side. Whoa, 3 players, so that means they're going to have quite a walk towards the objective. Very unfortunate for them.
And you know what? It was the other pickup on Red 4 that got stuck and held up in their FOB. They were stuck on some I don't know what it was, some objects. But so they're, even though they had the jump on Blue, they're significantly behind here.
Mel, first one inside this Charlie compound. All the Green 4 here have been eliminated. Oh, Mel does go down to friendly fire, but player unknown, Ace's Fury, and SBX TV are going to be following up. Exec is going to be pushing forward with his Vic as well. Let's checking out that Bravo objective, Stardog.
Yeah, Phase 2, Blue has a slight advantage. Charlie is secure. I don't believe the upload has begun.
Wow.
Charlie.
Tangodown, extremely slow getting to their download sites. They haven't even gotten to Alpha yet. And Marius is waiting for them, Stardog. He is up on a second floor of the building directly opposite of that Alpha upload site. And he's just waiting for Red 4 to come in so he can shoot them in their back and stop that upload from even happening. Interesting.
The advantage Tangodown here is that they've moved out to secure the Bravo as well. So they may be able to get this Bravo location before the majority of the Arma 3 Ambassadors are still slowly moving out of the Charlie objective.
That is a very good point. We see the whole of the Arma 3 Ambassadors team, minus Marius, still at that first objective near their spawn. So definitely slower getting to that middle Bravo point. Only one Op 4 remains on that Bravo location, but he may just be able to revive his teammates.
Wow.
And kind of increase the force count on that side. Zoo coming in now.
Bravo has begun the download on Bravo. Or excuse me, Tangodown has begun the download on Bravo as well as Alpha.
How about Marius? Is he still up? He is. He is going to be harassing Red 4 inside that base. But, I mean, he's still got a ways to go. He's going to be breaching, I think, fairly soon.
It's getting very close.
Oh, and goes down to Nightmare.
Wow.
Wow, Tangodown might just come out with a victory in this phase 2.
I think they will. Yeah. This is going to be big. This is huge. Phase 2 is huge for a sudden death, one-game victory. Because now they have the schematics and they dictate the pace in phase 3.
Well, we'll take a look at this Center Bravo objectives. That's the closest objective that Blue 4 is going to be close. No, yep, you're right. I mean, now I believe, Stardog, they have to destroy this vehicle. And if they don't, I think the other team, Blue 4, can take this center objective back. But saying that, they secure their closest objective. Tangodown wins phase 2.
That's correct.
Wow, a slow start for Tangodown, but Ambassador's not able to capitalize, sending all of their units to their closest download site.
I am very interested. I'm very interested to see. It's up at that previous northeastern location, gas station. Yeah. It's very interesting to see what Tangodown decides to do here now that they have the retrieve function, and whether they adopt a strategy similar to Arma. I would like to see that, because it puts a lot more pressure on the Arma 3 ambassadors to make in the defense.
Sasha going to be advancing towards that schematic upload location, or download location, I guess. Actually, no, he's going the opposite direction. Never mind. As you saw there, for a large period of time, the majority of the Tangodown team was dead. They actually took lots of casualties at that center point as the Blue 4 wave washed over them. But either way, they're all respawned now, and I think they might just be starting to advance towards that schematic upload point.
It just goes to show the advantage of splitting up your forces at multiple uplink locations and sending the majority to the further points closer to the enemy to give yourself a better chance to secure those objectives that are closer to your enemy. And you know, because Tangodown was significantly behind moving out of phase 1 into phase 2, and the sole reason that Arma 3 ambassadors adopted a strategy of all of their forces securing the nearest objective, whereas Tangodown split up their forces and sent a majority out to the central one and secured 2 at a time. It just speaks volumes to you know, the benefit of securing multiple objectives rather than consolidating one by one.
Looking at that player screen again, Stardog, Tangodown taking heavy casualties. The majority of their team was dead right there as they slowly are able to respawn. But
now it's interesting. The Arma 3 ambassadors are now gravitating towards that northern hillside, whereas our first series of matches, it seemed like every capture point was onto the southern hillside. So it looks like we're gonna have you know, the match focused onto that other northern hill for this match.
Yep, definitely. As we see a unit from Tangodown getting closer to that schematic drop point. Sasha is getting pretty close, able to pick it up fairly shortly.
That's interesting, because I feel like this plays into the strategy that Arma has kind of brought into fruition in the last match. Now, if you were to just keep the schematics there, which it doesn't look like Tangodown's going to do, they may end up picking it up here.
Looks like they're more so setting up for a defense inside that schematic point than an offense.
I actually like this. I'd like to see them leave it there, because it's actually very close to the capture point currently in its state. I would like to see them bring up some sort of armored transport up to this location and kind of keep it close by to the schematic, so that once they pick it up, they can just very quickly transport it safely and securely onto the capture point. But I like this, just kind of keeping it where it is, securing the objective first rather than taking the schematics. Specifically securing the hillside first.
Moondai on some rocks overlooking the approach of OP4. He was engaging Nightmare, exchanged some fire just a few seconds ago. He's getting ready to look over that rocks again and make another suppressing fire round.
Now, it's been interesting to see, whereas in the first week of matchups, we've seen what would seem to have been a much more organized transition from Phase 2 into Phase 3 between the sides. And with our last match of the last series and this first match of this series, the transition from Phase 2 to Phase 3, the teams kind of have been very spread out and disorganized in their transitions. It seems like, forces here and there and sporadic engagements, those sorts of things. Now, Tangodown has opted to take the schematics now, and they have possession of it. So Arma 3 ambassadors are aware of the schematics location and are reacting right now.
Yeah, I think Sasha was looking for a vehicle, which he didn't find. He's actually going to be threatened by Atheos 190.
Yep. And he's unaware. Schematics are dropped.
This is a very interesting situation. Lario does secure the schematics once again, but we have Paramelik advancing towards that schematics upload point, or that schematic drop point once again. So, I mean, not the patience we've seen in the first game, and I think this Ifrit is what Sasha was waiting for but just didn't arrive yet. As you see now, Beast and Ace's Fury kind of having a little engagement, little game of rodeo.
Well, the secret's out on the schematics location. Blue 4 is reacting, and I think they're going to gain possession of the schematics here.
I think so too. Paramilla's in a good position to just make a beeline towards that schematics. Moondai advancing as well.
This could prove to be very detrimental to Tangodown. The decision to actually take the schematics before they could actually get it into an armored transport and keep it secure, they pick it up and now lose possession of the schematics, which the first series of this week's matchups have shown that possession of the schematics has been everything in Phase 3.
And looking around this general area, besides the Beast and his Ifrit, there is no red 4. So, I mean, this schematic point is fairly secure as Mel advances to pick him up. Momentum of this match has definitely changed, Starduck.
Yeah, this definitely shifted in Arma 3 Ambassador's favor. Now, Tangodown's no slouch. Now that the schematics are in play, we could very easily see it shift possession multiple times between the teams. But the fact that Tangodown decided to grab the schematics and put it into play has kind of opened it up so that both teams, it can be now, you know, it can go either way.
It definitely can, as we see right now. I think some of the Red 4 defenders are slowly pushing back towards their hillside. Tangodown reorganizing their defense.
I think Arma 3 Ambassador is going to have a difficult time getting this truck out where the carrier is. Yeah, and they've decided to disband it.
I mean, but that being said, the Ambassadors are able to move as a consolidated team right now. You're able to use their overwhelming firepower to kind of take out anybody that comes against them in the CQB environment as they advance towards their upload hillside.
Yeah, we got a couple of Tangodown advancing towards the Blue 4 forces right now with the schematics.
The Beast in that Ifrit. Getting sneaky. Ace is going to be engaging it. He's going to be pulling away.
This is interesting. I'm not sure why the Beast is pulling up onto this location, because if they lose that Ifrit,
oh, he's got it
give
stuck.
It to Blue.
He's got it stuck. Look at this. That poor Ifrit.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody's making any use of that now.
I think you're right. Sasha is still here. Probably the only Red 4 defender within range of delaying this Blue 4 advance.
This is the first really consolidated engagements we've seen in the town here over the schematics in this week's matchups.
Yeah, definitely. As we see,
the majority of the matches seem to have
house battle here, advancing forward. Lorio still alive in the house opposite to the MSR here. Moondai just went down to his fire. Nightmare is going to be advancing from his 6 as well.
Yeah, I'd say slight advantage Blue, just seeing as though they still maintain possession of the schematics. They're inching it forward, block by block, towards the capture location. There's not a whole lot of Op4 or Tangodown resistance en route to the capture point. Now, as I say that, more Tangodown are spawning up at the capture point and moving down towards the Blue 4 forces.
But Blue 4, again, has the advantage of already being consolidated.
Yeah, they do. They have strength in numbers, consolidated, and it seems Tangodown is very different from what we've seen of them last weekend, but 2 weekends ago, where they were very much coordinated, consolidated, and moving as a team, whereas they're very kind of spread out here, acting as individuals, and rather than what we saw the first time we were watching them, where they had a consolidated defense on the hilltops, they have now opted to move out and engage them en route to the capture point.
Yeah, absolutely. We see, you know, a great deal of security around this schematics carrier, as Paramelian and Marius is going to be breaching a house where a defender is just up on the 2nd floor.
I like what I'm seeing from the Arma 3 Ambassadors team with the escorting the schematics carrier.
Yeah, that's probably the best tactic for moving through this urban environment without an armored vehicle. Having lots of friendlies around you, able to secure those stragglers that advance from every direction is vitally important.
Absolutely.
The Beast
Carrier's making a run across the street with no security.
Wow, I mean, Beast has him in his sights, but goes down after he empties his mag. Paramela escapes death, but eventually does go down.
He's down. Now, the schematics looks like are going to transfer possession into Tangodown.
I think you're right. Nightmare and Lorio in a good place to re-secure those schematics. Marius is going to be advancing at a very quick pace. We'll see.
It's a shame too. It's a shame because the Arma 3 Ambassadors team Moondai had just brought their armored transport onto the scene too. And if they were just able to maintain possession of it, maybe another 30 seconds, they most likely would have been able to get into that armored transport. But they've now forfeit possession. Tangodown now maintains control of the schematics.
This definitely isn't the one-sided kind of one person holding the schematics games that we saw in the first matchup today. Very back and forth as Moondai makes a run into that house.
Yeah, the interesting thing is here, I don't like this choice by Moondai. I would like to see Moondai keep this vehicle safe and secure somewhere else so that should they transfer possession of the schematics back into blue, they have this vehicle ready. But by bringing it here, he's basically putting the integrity of this vehicle, he's risking it so that if they lose it, you know, that forfeits their only armored transport.
As we see now, that vehicle may just be demobilized or immobilized.
That's a shame. Yeah, I feel like they could have really utilized that once they, if they regain possession of the schematics.
Moondai going to be engaging Sasha inside that house. He does take him out. Now under fire by Dane. He might just opt to remount that that hunter. Moondai is getting some important kills near this carrier objective. Where is the blue for at this time? Well, there's SBig's TV just maybe 100 meters away. Majority of them seem to be near the schematics upload point. You know, close encounter with Spore as Ace's Fury just runs him over.
Oh! There was a frag that went off on the schematics carrier, Nightmare, and he has dropped it. Now, the majority, there's a lot of red still in there. They're going to maintain possession of the schematics.
Let's hop on board with Moondai and see what he's saying. Oh, just goes down to a frag. Atheos, advancing up into the second story, does go down to the combined fire of Lorio and the Beast.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get up into that location and take the schematics for blue right now.
Yeah, most of the blue 4 attackers around this area have been eliminated. SBig's TV still overwatching, but no one within danger close range.
Now we've got 8 minutes remaining in Phase 3. I feel like, seeing as though that the majority, at least, I think the armored transport for both sides have been neutralized. I feel like they really need to start showing some urgency and movement, which they are doing. Tangodown is now beginning their movement through town.
Stardog, I think Dane may just take... No, I don't think he was able to... the front wheel was destroyed. But he is able to requisition it. There's Moondai saying, give me back my hunter. Is able to take out Spectre.
Carrier is now mobile in a transport. It's a large truck transport, it seems.
I think he'll be able to get away, though. I mean, get away, granted, but leaving most of his team behind.
They seem to opt to move into the field. I don't think there's an exit from this.
Maybe they just want to play some soccer or football for European viewers. They just want to have a good time. As we see, the truck is currently advancing at a fairly wide berth away from their upload point. They just might want to consolidate and come at this from another direction, Starduck.
Yeah, I think they're regrouping. They have the schematics, so they can't lose this match right now. And I think they're just going to kind of try to regroup their forces, make a push onto the hill, and try to get this first Game 1 win.
Most of the Arma 3 Ambassadors team is currently down. They're going to be respawning fairly shortly, probably up at this hillside encampment. Nothing that much to worry about right now from Blue 4. I mean, yes, the carrier is mobile. They do know where that carrier is coming from, and they have their defense pretty well set up on this hilltop.
I'm not so sure I agree with the movement of the schematics carrier right now. The majority of their team is still very far out in the city and split off, and they're not up to this capture location. So bringing the schematics up right now, I feel like is not in their best interest until they can get the rest of their team up there and help with the... Oh, no.
Yeah, they're under fire now. Aces, Theos, player unknown, Marius, all directions, even exec in a vehicle. Going to be engaging the schematics carrier. He hits a tree, is immobilized. I don't know how he's not down yet. I think there is a degree of armor to this truck right now. The carrier is still up. Spectre up. And Sasha will be slithering away.
I don't see any way he makes it out of this.
No, nor do I. Yeah, Nightmare drops schematics. And as you can see now, a lot of the Red 4 team currently down. There goes that body.
That's a shame. I feel like they just needed to buy a little bit more time to get their team up and contesting the capture point before they started to move in.
That, or even perhaps just dismounting a little bit earlier, as we see right now, the that approach from the Red 4 has been pretty much destroyed. Marius is now the schematics carrier.
Well, now seems Blue 4 have a quad that's coming up for a transport. They're going to bring it up onto the opposite side of this hill by the carrier. And this could actually catch Tangodown out in no man's land, basically, out in the middle, centralized. If they can get around before Tangodown can get back up to defend this capture point, because they're going to have some speed here on this quad bike.
Looking at that other capture point, Zug and Spectre on that point. So there is some defenses on top of this hill, but not much.
Yeah, and also it's going to be difficult for the rest of the Arma 3 ambassadors to transition over to help this assault onto the capture point. I think, once again, it may be best. Now, we're running out of time here. We're under 4.5 minutes remaining in this match, so you really need to... This could be the last effort here for Blue, so we'll see.
Yeah, very much so, as we see the Blue 4 now deciding to not retake the hill, but instead advance around the other side of it.
They're going to be intercepted here.
This is interesting. I think there's fire coming down from Blue 4 against that truck of Lorio.
That pickup truck has lost his left front wheel.
Yep.
Left his wheel.
And Marius, the carrier, is able to get away unharmed. I do see a Blue 4 on top of that, near that hillside. Who is that? That's Biggs. Biggs is advancing on the hill right now.
Blue can make this work if they get up there right now. There's not a whole lot of resistance up there.
You ever seen an ATV chase, Starduck? I think we're seeing that right now. Sasha chasing the ATV carrier, or the carrier on the ATV, excuse me, who's actually currently under fire from that tower up near the upload point.
Good evasive maneuvers there by the ATV driver.
I think S Biggs went down near this tower complex, so any kind of approach by Blue 4 right now has kind of been eliminated, as Red 4 is more so consolidating their forces back on the defense.
Yeah.
Marius pushing
now,
in.
they're bringing it up. They're bringing the schematics up onto the top of the hillside.
Marius
schematics have been dropped.
Moondai is on a great adventure in the air, and he goes down as well. Well, the schematics have changed hands probably once again. We may just see another draws, but Exec is on point. He's going to be shooting the schematics carrier. Takes out Nightmare. He's got actually guys spawning on him. This might actually be very good for Blue 4. The ambassadors spawning on Exec, able to take out the flag carrier and may be able to re-secure the schematics and continue their push.
Wow. It's gonna be very close.
S-Big TV does go down, so does Exec. We do see some Blue 4 attackers pushing forward. Melon Moondai, but Dane is near that schematic point. He'll be able to secure it before those Blue 4 reinforcements get here.
This has been night and day compared to our first series of matches as far as the types of strategies. This has been very back and forth as far as the schematics transferring between both sides.
Yep, absolutely. And again, that may just be due to the fact that you know, they didn't come into counter with the other strategy, which is, you know, keeping that schematics carrier away and then finally pushing it in a safe. Also, we have to consider this is a sudden death match. That may be also playing a role in the decisions for, you know, the overall strategies of both of these teams. As Blue 4 just got, wow, down within a few moments there as the Red 4 defense continues.
I've lost track of the schematics. Are you aware of where the schematics are at this moment?
You know what? I'm not. There may just be a glitch where when Sasha went down, the marker went away.
Yeah, I'm currently unaware of the schematics location. Last known was Nightmare's location. It was somewhere around there when it transferred possession. So I don't know if either team actually possesses the schematics, or if it's lost, or if we just don't have that intel.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I totally agree with you. It was over by these windmills. Last time we saw it, I don't see the actual item, the schematics around here. It's usually dropped when these players die. And yeah, again, it's not on their screen anywhere. So either way, Stardog, they lost it when it was around, you know, 2 minutes left. Not much time to do much from both of these teams as we got 30 seconds left in game number 1.
Yep.
I think it will end
It looks
in a
like
draw.
this first match is going to a draw, yeah.
The sudden death will continue. That being said, Tangodown did secure phase 2 before the Ambassadors did. So they do get a little asterisk beside their point, meaning that if all 3 games come to a draw, they have that advantage going in.
Well, yep, first game draw. Looks like we're going into game 2.
Spawning as Op4, we have a team of Arma 3 Twitch streamers, YouTube personalities, and Arma 3 player personalities, the Arma 3 Ambassador team. And spawning in as Blue 4, the community from the Netherlands, we have Tangodown. Both teams lined up at their starting locations, ready to advance forward. And again, I think this kind of phase 1 is where we're going to see a bunch of changes from the last one, right? Ambassador team was very... Actually, you know what? I kind of take that back. Last game, we had a very close phase 1. The phase 2, not so much.
Yeah, I'm watching the Arma 3 Ambassadors this time, and they're moving very quickly to the FOB, and they may actually be able to catch this patrol out in the open once again. Going back to the blue side, that could be very advantageous for the red if they can catch them in the open. Blue side, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because all of the green forces are actually occupying the center of that FOB, so they're not going to be able to begin this engagement until they get right up on them.
Red 4, Moondai, I think, leading the charge for that team. Now engaging the independent forces at their FOB complex. Those independent forces are going to be trying to find cover as they push back into their FOB to remain inside that complex. Now only 1. As I think Paramele is probably the closest towards that FOB capture point.
Very close between both sides right now. No significant advantages either way.
Actually, I think I would give Red 4 the advantage. Look, all 4 independent defenders are still up at that Tangodown site.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and Red 4 moves on to the intel phase. So this is, again, where we can see probably the most improvement from this team is getting out of this base as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, Ambassadors have really shown some improvement here. Now, they've got some guys...
Still one green 4 remain
loadouts
inside this FOB. He's in a pretty cheeky position, just outside the base near this this HESCO barrier.
I'd really like to see the Arma 3 Ambassadors get out a little bit quicker here. Push their advantage.
The base has been secured for Blue 4, Tangodown, as they should transition right about now, as you can see, into that second phase.
Yeah, we see a relatively slow transition, and this is uncharacteristic of Tangodown. They've always been, you know, in the first week, a much faster-paced team here as far as their transition into phase 2. And I feel like that's really where their strength has been. And the majority of the teams that are advancing here have shown that that's a major key part of their victories is their transition into phase 2 and getting out and getting to these uplinks and securing multiple uplinks.
We'll start.
It's been a very slow transition.
This is where we'll see if that strategy is going to be differentiated from the last game. If whether they split their units a little bit more than we've seen before, and it looks like they will. Marius and another unit heading into the center alpha objective, as well as an off-road following that, with I believe some more Red 4 units just behind that once again. I think their vehicle was demobilized or immobilized, advancing towards that Charlie upload site.
Now, Tangodown is showing us a lot of the same, or excuse me, this is the Arma 3 Ambassadors team that is securing on Alpha right now. They have multiple people securing Alpha in the center.
Yeah, that download has started, and there's a lot of Red 4 on that point. They might just be able to secure it before Blue 4 can offer any resistance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no contention here. They're going to secure this Alpha up. That's huge.
Let's take a look at that Charlie point. Still some green 4 there. They've only got 1 or 2 units, so perhaps enough to take out this green 4, but not enough to secure this Charlie objective quickly.
I really like what I'm seeing from the Arma 3 Ambassadors this game. They're really on point.
That's Alpha secured for the Arma 3 Ambassadors. Heading over to Bravo. The upload hasn't been started even for Tangodown. Still 3 independent defenders on that point.
Now, I would really like to see the Arma 3 Ambassadors set up a defense here on the Alpha point, because Blue's moving in. They can still begin an upload on this point. You know, having already done it as the Arma 3 Ambassadors, Blue can still use that uplink. So
Yep,
they still need to
absolutely.
defend this and prevent them from it.
That being said, Marius Mundai taking out Nightmare and a few other Blue 4 attackers. It seems like this point has been fairly secured. I don't see any other Blue 4 attackers beside, you know, a little bit further down the roadblock on this MSR. Let's take a look at this Charlie point. Yep, this is going to be the I think there's no real resistance from the Blue 4 at this Charlie point. I predict very much so that you know, the Ambassadors will win Phase 2.
I agree. And then we'll have a, you know, it'll be Phase 2, one win for both sides, securing Phase 2.
As that upload is probably around 80% done right now, heading back into that alpha point, still under control by Red 4.
I think what we've seen so far has been identical to what we saw in the first weeks of matchups between these sides, where each team was able to secure Phase 2 once going into the third match.
Well, we head into Phase 3 right now. Yep.
This is really where the game can be won and lost. So, Arma 3 Ambassadors have now been tasked with Retrieve. We'll see what they decide to do here as far as the decision-making goes on when they decide to grab these schematics, how they decide to transport it,
Marius
and so on.
is advancing in an off-road at a very quick pace towards that schematic point.
Yeah.
He just might be getting ready to, you know, trying to use speed here.
Yeah, I would expect to see them try to grab this schematics right now and try to very quickly, before Tangodown can even react, try and get it to a capture point.
Marius just ready to park his off-road at this location. SBX TV coming in with a transport as well. Same with Moondai and an ATV. Lots of vehicles here for the Ambassadors team. Now it's a decision of who's going to pick up the schematics and become the carrier.
The longer they take, the more time they give Tangodown to set up a defense.
You can see now the Tangodown defense is slowly being set up. They're starting to advance up that mountainside.
Now, they've got a motorized convoy here escorting this schematics carrier.
Marius in the lead Vic. Exec behind that. Player unknown behind that. Doing a nice little flip for the show. And I think, yeah, there's SBX TV and Moondai, who is the flag carrier. Or the schematics carrier, excuse me.
Yeah, I don't want to see Tangodown get distracted by this one man in the town there. They seem to be converging on that location rather than setting up a defense.
Shooting at Exec, who's running through to the middle of town there with his transport truck. Of course, Blue 4 does know where that schematic carrier is coming from. They do see it on his map.
Yeah, the Beast is in pursuit right now on an ATV. Or he was.
Really only two defenders on this mountain right now. Nightmare and Zoop. Marius going to be advancing.
Yeah, it's very important to maintain some sort of intelligence and communication on your team as far as what the enemy presence is up on the capture point and really identifying when you should move in and secure this capture.
Well, Marius is leading the charge here. Nightmare is down, but he does have some more reinforcements coming up from the center of town there. Sasha, Dane, advancing.
Now, the Arma 3 Ambassadors are not shy. They're always looking for a fight, and they're pushing up to try and secure this objective right now.
Moondai, Ace's Fury advancing. Zoog taken out. Sasha and Luigi from the flank. We'll see if they can take them out as well. Marius going for the flanking maneuver.
This is a good push by Red so far. This is a good push.
Marius taking out Sasha. It's all clear towards the top of that hill. Lorio, the only defender for Blue 4
Oh,
here.
wow. This could be it.
This could be it indeed. Moondai advancing forward with the rest of his team. A very consolidated push from Red 4. The Ambassadors sweep forward and are going to be starting that download process.
Wow. Impressive push.
With the number of Red 4 here, I think this upload will be done very, very quickly.
I think you're right.
No real defense other than Zoog advancing from quite a ways away. This might just be Ambassadors going to the semifinals as that upload is halfway done.
Wow.
Nightmare, the Beast coming from the flank. Lots of smoke on that point. Will it be enough? I don't think it will be. 80% done the upload for Op4. The Ambassadors go to the semifinals.
That was not even 4 minutes into the Phase 3. They were able to secure that the schematics. That may have been the fastest Phase 3 we've seen.